Greetings YouTube and welcome to another knife review. Today we're looking at a knife wrench. A knife made out of an actual wrench. In this particular case, a 3/4 wrench. It came with a Kydex sheath. So we're going to first check the sheath. No rattle that way and no rattle that way. So nice and secure. Since I am right-handed, I'm going to turn it around for deployment here. I actually haven't checked, but I think these are set up for a carry clip system. Also, it could function as a neck knife or very easily be strapped to a pack of some variety or any kind of a gear strap. So, comes right off. It's a fully functional Kydex sheath. That's it. It works. So here we go, and this was originally a Craftsman wrench. Before it was turned into a knife. Now, first thing you're going to know off is that this does have hammer marks, because this is a handmade item. I fully expected that, so I have no problem with the fact that this thing has hammer marks on it, that it just comes with the territory. Here we have the grind marks from the actual shaping of the general blade, and then we have the secondary bevel here on the edge. Comes to a decent point, and it doesn't have the best edge in the universe. It came not what I would consider to be reasonably sharp. Now, I got this off of Etsy. I was looking at Instagram, I think it was. Might have been Instagram with that, or it was DeviantArt, one of the two. But I sent a picture that someone had taken a large large fixed wrench, a big one, and they turned it into a Kopesh. And it was just a work of beauty. And they'd sold it. It was long gone. But the picture was still kicking around the internet. And I was just like, it was just so lovely. And it got me thinking, I've never really looked at Etsy for wrench knives. So I started poking around on Etsy for wrench knives. And I found this particular maker. And I picked the 3/4 because I happen to like the image that he had of the 3/4 inch wrench knife that he was showing off. Now, I realize these are handmade items, so there will be a variety of differences between them. But the image he'd shown was more of a 50-50 split, as opposed to what this is, which is about 3/4, very appropriate, very 3/4 handle and a 1/4 blade. So it was much closer to 50-50. And it was the ratio that I really liked. It was the same blade shape as this, but it was that ratio I happened to really like. And I got to tell you, when I got this and I took it out and I looked at it, and it isn't particularly straight. It's not bad. There's a slight bend to it, very, very slight, but it's not particularly even. Okay, so one side is very flat, one side slopes up to meet it. And I realize this is handmade, but part of the process of making a handmade knife for sale is if you have mastered the art to the point where the metal can be moved in an even direction. So you were capable of hammering the blade so that you apply the same amount of force to both sides and you get the knife where you want it. The grind is kind of thick behind the edge. This is not going to be a great cutter. And I can't really call a slicer because there just isn't much here to slice with. This is a very small edge amount. And again, it isn't particularly sharp. I mean, it's not dull, but it's definitely also not sharp. And I was more than a little disappointed when I got this knife, which is why I'm not telling you who the maker is, because I have no desire to harm this dude's business, because that's not my intention here. My intention here basically is that when you're buying a handmade item, you really have to take into account that there are going to be variances that you may not be able to account for. Now, the more masterful a maker is, the better chance you have of the item being what you want. So, for example, my Les George folder, you could probably buy a dozen Les George handmade folders, and you would have this consistent quality across the board because he is an incredibly skilled craftsman. The guy that made this isn't. And somewhat ironically, a couple weeks ago, I got a email from him asking if I wanted to do a review about, or give him his thoughts about this knife, and I just declined to involve myself in that. Because again, I'm not going to rain on the dude's parade. I am not going to call him out, and he will probably never see this video, so that's just fine. I'm going to probably to make an effort to get this thing to be sharp, and I don't know what the quality of the steel is as far as hardness is concerned. Obviously, it has been heat treated, you can see that, but I don't know how successful the process of hardening it after the artist had finished the shaping and such. So I don't know how hard this is in reality. So I have no idea what kind of edge retention it's going to have. But I am probably going to make an effort to get that edge to be much better than it is. So I'm not excited by this, and if I ever decide to purchase a knife wrench again, and I like the idea, I'm going to see if I can see it in person. Because if I can see it in person, if I can hold it, I can feel it, I can check the edge, I can get the ratio, I can see the tool marks, I can see how even it is. If I can do all that in person, then I can make a legitimate judgment on if I think it's worth my time or not. Because I spent $60 on this knife, and I don't think it was $60 well spent. I just don't. So there you go. Buyer beware, as they say. And sometimes you get a good deal and you find something you're really happy with, and sometimes you don't.